Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Thoth The Scribe Podcast, where we talk about magic, art, we talk about creative stuff, and we also have room in our hearts and our professional lives for video editing, technology, social media, building up your professional image and career as a creator and also as a company owner. Greg Ball.
Hi there.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm Greg Ball. I have my video production company called Ball Media Innovations, and we're a full-service video production company. We do video production for companies, corporations, medical clients, manufacturing clients, training videos, videos for the food service industry. We do a whole host of different kinds of videos. And, we put things out on websites, social media, and really anywhere else you could expect to see a video, Facebook, and we're quite good at what we do.
Yeah, that is awesome. And it's a pleasure having you on my podcast. And I will start off with the hard-hitting questions right off the bat. Do production owners and entrepreneurs, and there are a lot of freelancers and people like that. Do they secretly want to do a feature Hollywood budget film?
I think everybody, in some aspect, sees themselves as the next Steven Spielberg. Everybody kind of wants to do that. And, a lot of people have opportunities to do that. But when you think about how many real opportunities there are and how many jobs there are like that, how many, places you can go and actually have a film created, that's very small. It's, it's almost like putting, a knife through the eye of a needle. That's small. So it's kind of you can do it that way. But yeah, we all have that fantasy. Although I gave mine up many years ago because, what people don't understand about creating a film, and there may be some indie film producers out there, but for the most part, if you do a major motion picture, you can work on that 3 to 5 years every day, and maybe each day 1 or 2 scenes. And that gets really tedious. So I really prefer creating videos where you plan it, you shoot it, you edit it, and you distribute it all within a few weeks. So that's kind of what I prefer to do. But yeah, there are people who really want to get into that.
Yeah, but if you had the chance to be like the next, what's it? I forgot his name. The Stanley Kubrick.
Okay.
If you want to be like, if you had the chance, even the most minuscule, the infinitesimally small chance of being able to produce the next Kubrick standard making trending film, or from that caliber, would you agree to that if someone from like a top-notch Hollywood producer were to knock on your door with an offer that you couldn't refuse?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. You couldn't refuse it. Absolutely. There's somebody came to me with that, right? Exactly. Right. Yeah, we're both doing our great acting ability now as well. But yeah, if somebody came to me with something like that and the offer was good, the money was good, because you're really going to be, giving up everything else you're doing to concentrate on that for, quite a while. Yeah, absolutely, I would do it, because who doesn't want their, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour of fame, to be able to do that and to be known, to know that you created something like that. It's almost like a building architect. If you have the opportunity and you're an architect and you built the skyscraper in one of the biggest cities in the country, would you want to do that? Absolutely. Because to have your name on something like that, really, really does a lot. And it also helps a lot to if you have that kind of ego and you really like to be in the limelight. A lot of people in production don't really like the limelight quite as much. They like being behind the scenes. But Stanley, he likes being out there in front, and and I understand that.
Yeah. So in our preliminary talk, you've mentioned some things that you did before that got you into actually owning your own production company.
So I started off, graduated college with a major in communications. I ran their college video studio for all the students there. We broadcast sort of like a takeoff of the old Saturday Night Live kind of shows. We did that, got that going.
Nice, yeah.
We also videotaped, college practices for football and soccer and basketball. So players could learn what they were doing. This is before everybody had cameras that they could analyze everything. But we did that, had students working for me to do that for credits. And then when I got out of school, I started working for a company that built and designed TV studios for schools and companies and broadcast studios. And then I started working in corporate America as a video producer for an insurance company. Left there because I was in Connecticut, and if you know anything about Connecticut in the wintertime, it's very cold, very snowy. And so I left there and decided, where should we go? It was a little warmer, and we came to South Florida, Miami area. And I started working for Burger King Corporation. I ran their video operation for many years, and we did all kinds of videos there, and we serviced restaurants that totaled over 350,000 employees around the globe. And we produced our videos, training videos and marketing videos in about 15 different languages. So we did that there. I learned how to do that. I left Burger King in 2002 and started Ball Media Innovations, and I've been here ever since.
Wow, that is wonderful that you can do what you love for such a long time without interruptions, or hiccups or stuff like this. But can you tell me a little bit about your time in Burger King? What was especially draw you in, something that actually kept you on your feet, kept the mind going and the creativity flowing?
Sure. Well, a couple of things. One, they were big on doing global conventions. So they'd have all their restaurant managers and franchise owners from around the world come to one place, like in Las Vegas or in Orlando or something like that. And they'd put on a week's worth of convention. And they would come to me and say, hey, we need to produce some videos for that. Okay. So I would produce all the videos for that. And mind you, I was a one-person operation. So I did it all, but I brought people in to help me to shoot video, to write, to light things, to audio people and all the technical people. And so then I edited it all together, and there was nothing worse than convention week, where you had about 12 to 15 videos you had to produce. And then where your creativity really came in was, number one, how to get that all done. But number two, when you're on location, I can tell you, we had, times where I was in Orlando, and at the last second, they decided they wanted to have a highlight video for the end of the show. And they had a theme, and their theme was magic. And all they had was a black magic hat and, a wand. I said, go, Greg, make a video. And so he sat there and came up.
Yeah, you gotta pull a magical white rabbit from the hat. Yeah,
exactly. And they had different songs, Magical Mystery Tour, different things like that we could use. But
la 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 la,
you can only use 20
la la magical mystery.
There you go. You can only use 20 seconds of each song for legal purposes. So we had to figure out a way how to mix all the different songs together, get the video we wanted to, and create something. So I sat in a hallway outside a ballroom on the floor, and I penciled it all out.
Yeah,
then we
a
went off and shot.
ballroom.
Right. Not aptly named for me, but yes. And so figured it all out, went around and we shot people playing golf, we shot all these different scenes, and each scene ended with if you don't mind, like here's a hat, right? Each scene ended with a person going like this, and then covering it and then letting it back out, and we were in a new location.
That's so 90s, like to do something
Right.
like that. It's
Yep.
wow, it blows my mind. That's an MTV prop trick,
Exactly. So we did that type of thing, created video. We had 2 days to produce the whole thing, edit it, and deliver it. And I was still at a production house, an editing suite, like about half hour before it had to play in front of a big screen in front of 30,000 people. And so we finished the whole thing, drove, ran into the building, kind of like, dodging people, dodging like bellhops in the hallways and everything else, and handed it to the engineer. And he just took it out of my hand, put it in the machine, and push play. It was that quick. And, and so we did it. So it's that kind of thing. You really have to be creative on your feet, and also like be able to troubleshoot things and come up with a plan even when one doesn't exist. So it's a challenge, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, to get that tape, it's not something that you should take for granted, like that you managed to actually push it out, you distributed it. So how much do producers in the field, in the professional field, want to get a Super Bowl ad?
I mean, it's kind of funny because, like I said before, a lot of people want that. But me personally, I don't know if it's worth it. It's like you have your 15 seconds of fame, and that's it. And then, and you have to come back and say, hey, you know what? I produced that Budweiser commercial. Which one? Oh, I don't remember that anymore. It's like, it's tough because don't forget your audience. Although people like me stay because I want to watch all the commercials. A lot of other people DVR the whole thing and high speed through the commercials. They don't see it. Other people go to the refrigerator. Other people do different things. So, what kind of audience is really watching it? So again, it's the same thing, almost like the Kubrick thing. You can say, hey, I did it. And, here's my award. And here's my video. But, is it enough inner satisfaction for you? And I guess it's the same thing that you could talk about anybody else who, if there's people who are artists and they paint, or there's musicians and they create, songs or music, it's great that that and you have that, but, how much satisfaction do you really have with it? So it's something you really have to think about when you get into this kind of field. Where do you want to go on that? I'm the kind of person that really, I don't care about like credits and that type of thing. I've had people say, hey, do this video for us and we'll put you in the credits. I don't really care. I'd rather not be in the credits, and just know that I did a good job and know that people liked it. And really, the other thing I can tell you is one of the things that I really like is being able to watch people watch my video, because that's the rush for me. If you can produce something and people are supposed to have an emotion at one time and they do, then yay, I've won. So that's what I really like. And that's what I really get off on, is doing that kind of thing in the creative field. And I think a lot of artists probably feel that way too. They hang a painting in a gallery and people gathered around it and commenting on it, and they're standing there and enjoying it. That's really a rush.
Yeah, I've met so many artists, like especially painters, that like you look at their paintings and it's like something magical. It's an alchemical experience. It's a metaphysical type of feeling that you get. It's not something that you can really explain with straight science. But the painters, they don't like their paintings. That's the reason they keep creating. So What is your like? I'm going to use a very kind of highfalutin word. It's like a chef d'oeuvre. It's what is the masterpiece, the magnum opus that you consider having produced?
Well, I don't know if I've produced it yet. It's always something I'm striving for. You know, I mean, to me, it's anything that you've done a lot of work on. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And then again, for me, it was really going to these global conventions and seeing your video, your work that started from nothing, play on this big, 30-foot screen in front of 30,000 people and let them all cheer and laugh and have fun at the same time. And every time you get a reaction like that, kind of it sends chills down you. And then you feel like, yes, I did it. I made it. So I don't have one in particular, but I have a whole host of, different types of shows that I've done over the years that I'm really proud of and that had the reaction, I wanted. And as a matter of fact, I can tell you one thing that always used to give me a rush too is, we produced a lot of training videos for Burger King. And there would be nothing better than to go to like some little small town, city somewhere in the United States and go walk into a restaurant and say, hey, did you ever see that video on how to do such and such? And they go, oh yeah, that's the video with the time travelers. And right. And yes, you remember it. So that kind of thing, that's a rush for me, to know that you did something in one area, in your little small studio, and somebody 3,000 miles away watched it and remembers it.
Yeah, that's an awesome feeling. I think most people won't be able to connect to something like that, to an experience similar to that. But what do you think about the creative role that producing has? Like a director is a type of, eccentric artist, very full of ideas, like very creative, very fast, very demanding, very won't budge from his vision, But how do you find yourself? How do you perceive yourself as a producer, or how did you get to producing? Was there a step before, or was it just, I want to produce and do good work that people will remember?
Well, it's a little of both. I mean, to me, there's directors out there, especially a lot of famous directors, and some of them are just, geniuses on what they do, and the actors and the crew, they all respect them so much, and, that's really cool. I, on the other hand, also like to take, something I do and really involve the rest of my team. So, maybe my camera person has shot something a little bit different that I never saw. Maybe an actor has a different way of saying a line or has a different idea. So what I like to do is I like to involve them in it. So if somebody comes to me and says, hey, Greg, I know you're the director, but I'm wondering if we could do something like this. And I'll be like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. And often it'll come out really nice, and they feel good about it and they're motivated because they had a part in what we were creating instead of just being somebody pushing record. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And an actor, will feel better about their role. Actors are a different breed. Actors are never really happy with anything they've ever do on camera. They always want, can I have one more take?
They're like artists in that way. Right. Yeah.
Yep. So, if you give an actor the freedom to improvise and come up with something as well, as long as it doesn't stray too far from what your message is.
Yeah. Now I'll try the Stanislavski method,
right,
as opposed to the John Gould one. Yeah.
Exactly. So try to do that and, and see if you can get something more out of people. And, it's the same thing even when I'm interviewing people, it's sometimes you interview somebody and, they give you these rote answers that, aren't really what you're looking for. and you dig deeper and you ask like good follow-up questions, and you pull it out of them. It's kind of like the old Oprah Winfrey, make them cry type of thing. Or if you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you be? Those types of things. So if you could do that and, get some emotion out of people, I've interviewed people before.
If you can just come up to the stage and jump up and down the sofa, that would be great. Great television. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you can get that so it's so natural, so realistic, and people love it, you've won a battle.
Yeah, so what I would like to ask you further, just a minute. Sometimes I have this mental lapses. It's just because I have a lot of things going on in the same time. What did I want to ask you? Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, of course. It's a very obvious question, and one that people try to avoid like a flame, but have you ever had the chance of working with any famous actors?
Not really famous actors, famous people, yes. I've done a lot of videos with different celebrities, for example, like Magic Johnson, Don Shula, Joe Theismann, some senators, some governors, different things along those lines that we've done videos with. And, those came out really well. It was a lot of fun to like do a training video with Magic Johnson, that type of thing.
That is awesome, like Magic Johnson.
Yeah, great basketball player, but right. So that's kind of fun to do some things like that. And Joe Theismann was really interesting. We used to do a news magazine for Burger King, and Joe Theismann was the host. And so it was very cool. But and I could tell you a fun story with that too. Is we were doing something. We were doing just his opening piece. And he was reading a teleprompter, and about a week or two earlier, he was like broadcasting Monday Night Football on ABC, and he said something like, hey, you don't have to be Warren Einstein to know how to do that. And everybody's like, Warren Einstein? Who's Warren Einstein? And that became the whole joke. So we were doing a video with him in our studio. And
Warren Einstein is the better of the Einsteins, yeah.
Right, his famous brother. And so I was actually running teleprompter for him that day, and Joe kept screwing up. And finally he looked at me and said, Greg, if you just would slow down the teleprompter a little bit and do it, I wouldn't make all these mistakes. And I just said, well, Joe, you don't have to be Warren Einstein to know how to read teleprompter. And he turned bright red, and oh, good one, Greg. And he went through it, and it was good. And everybody laughed. It was like dead silence at first. And then he took it all in good stride, and we had a really good show. But it's fun to do that. I think the whole thing is never to be intimidated by anybody you're working with, and because then it just kind of like reflects on the final product. So just be yourself, be natural, be kind, considerate, respectful, and just work with them, and they'll respect you and you respect them.
Yeah, now we'll move on to our ombudsman, Warren Einstein, on site.
Right. I don't remember if it was Warren, but it was something like that. Some really
I know. I got it. I got you. Okay. So
if you Google it, you'll probably find that.
Yeah, Warren Einstein. It sounds like a Jewish stand-up comedian from the 70s. Yeah.
Right. There you go. Living this
Exactly. So, do you have a streamlined vision? Something like, would you like to come up with a product or a show or a program that really takes off, like to the stratosphere, shall we say, and gets the attention and the kind of buzz that you would like to have as a producer?
Oh, absolutely. And I would. I'm sure everybody else would also. You always strive for that. Now, kind of one of the things out there is, can you make it go, viral? That's the big thing. Can you do that? And it's not something that you really
can you do jazz hands? Yeah.
Right. It's not something you really can plan. It just kind of happens, and if you're in the right spot at the right time and you do the right video and it's grabbed by the right people and the right person sees it, a lot of things have to happen to get to that point. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing that probably would be a bigger rush than to have something like that happen.
Yeah, can you listen to my demo tape? Yeah,
Right.
That old shtick. Yeah. So okay, so I want to thank you so much for this amazing and wonderful conversation, and just I want to have. We'll give you the stage to open up the podium. Sorry, I have so many different interchanging terms for so many words, and I don't know which ones to pick at what time. So, so I'll give you the podium just for closing thoughts, message, something that important that the audience should hear or would be entertained or be germane to the audience's lives.
Sure. A couple of things. First, if you're in a creative field, that's great. There used to be a saying that do what you love and the money will follow. I think that works really well in the creative field. Do what you love. And in the worst case scenario, if you're not earning money, you still love what you're doing. And so you're still happy every day. And that's the name of the game, be happy every day with what you're doing. So I always tell people to go for that, try different things, always go that extra mile, try something else, don't be afraid to keep tweaking what you're doing to make it better and better. Even though maybe somebody else might not know that you've spent all that time on it, I think you'll have your own inner satisfaction from it. And that probably is worth more than getting paid to do something. So if you feel good about it, do it, go for it. So that's one thing I could say. The other thing that I could also say is, don't let anybody else, critique your work to the point that, you're, down on yourself about it. Always take critiques as education. Okay, I can receive that. And let me think what I could have done differently or what could I do better next time and learn from it. So, I know I just had somebody recently on Facebook who posted a video and it wasn't very good. I'll be honest with you, it just was not good. And so instead of me saying, oh, just your video is horrible, that type of thing, I said, here's 10 things you could have done differently. And I went through them and, he wasn't very gracious. Kind of dropped a few F-bombs and that type of thing. And I kind of ended the conversation there. But, just be gracious with, people. You're showing people your work and, taste comes and goes and everybody has different taste. Everybody likes different soda, different pizza. They'll like different art, different video, different movies, anything. So take that with a grain of salt, have, work on having thicker skin so you're not easily offended or upset by something, but just, let it go, brush it off, move on to the next thing, and be happy that way. I could tell you, at one point we had a video, this is when the little shaky cam was just coming out. And we did a video with shaky cam and we played it and we sent it in for an award. And one of the comments came back was, do yourself a favor and buy a tripod. And like, what? So, we laughed about it and that type of thing. And I had another one where we were shooting the CEO of Burger King and, and he was very good on camera, very natural. And somebody's comment was, next time use the real CEO instead of an actor. Yeah. It was the real CEO. So, you can always just take people's comments and critiques, with a grain of salt. Again, have thick skin. Don't let things get, in your way from that. Learn from everything. Learn every day. Never stop learning, no matter what you're doing. You may think you're an expert in something. There's still room to learn. So that's the other thing that I would leave people with. And pretty much that's really it. And for me, if you ever want to get in contact with me, feel free. My website is www.ballmediainnovations.com. You can always contact me there. There's a phone number on there as well, email information. Feel free to contact me if you want to reach out and have a question on something. Always happy to talk and always happy to help people. And that's something that I feel good about. I feel good about helping others. So I really enjoy that. And if there's anything I can ever do and help you in any way, I'll certainly do that. So feel free to contact me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great message. Actually, you need to be a person who is a sort of a fixer. I've heard it from a couple of sources, but you need to be a fixer, not a provider. Like if you teach a man to blah 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 tita t, and he will eventually starve to death because he doesn't know how to fish. So
right. And we've had that, and I've had that time and time again where we've been like doing a live show, a live convention, and in the headsets you're hearing this music coming from like another room from, because it's wireless and something's coming through. How do you fix that without everybody else hearing it? What do you do? How do you make that work? I mean, I can tell you one other story. I know we're almost running out of time, but my first job, I was working for a company, and the CEO called me up because the device he was using wouldn't work. And he couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. But as soon as I walked in, I noticed that it wasn't plugged into the wall. So, gee, you're the CEO of a company, you don't know how to plug something in, that kind of thing. So I didn't know how to make it look, seamless, so he wouldn't be, embarrassed and want me fired the next day. So as soon as he turned around, he was on the phone talking, blah, blah, blah. He turned around, and while he turned around, I slammed it into the wall, pushed the plug, and it came on. And he said to me like, well, wow, that's great. How did you fix it? And I said, oh, it was just a loose connection. Very true statement. It was a loose connection. And I did it.
It often is. It often is. That's like the greatest metaphor for human relationships. It's just loose connection, So what did we learn? Okay, let's do a quick recap. We learned that you should have thick skin and be able to shed it whenever the time calls. You have to be, you have to just do it, a nice product placement there. Nike, just do it. Yes. Okay, now they have to send me a check through the mail.
There you go.
They have to Venmo me some penny.
You just wait for that.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Okay. Thank you so much, Greg Ball. If you would like to get any advice or a solution to a problem concerning production or videos, you can go to Greg Ball at
ballmediainnovations.com.
Good. Okay, thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.